Hi, this is the Photopea step-by-step tutorial for advanced yet simple color grading. I have changed my browser from last time. I was using a browser that had ad blocking. Photopea is advertising driven. You don't have to pay for Photopea. You have to watch some ads on the side. That's where they get their income, their revenue. And for advanced features, you have to watch a full screen ad, which is what we are going to be doing, and my ad blocker would not let me do that. So I've turned off my ad blocker. I'm using a browser that doesn't have ad blocking. First step is I'm going to open up from computer. I'm going to open up my Photoshop document, not the image, not the JPEG. JPEGs are for viewing, not for editing. I am going to reopen my Photoshop document, PSD, from before. Don't worry about the logo. That is the Affinity logo. Your logo will look different. Make sure you're opening up the PSD. Double click on that, upload, there it is. Now the first step, as always, is I'm going to duplicate my background, duplicate my layer, and I'm going to just turn the viewing off on that one. That's how you view layers, you turn it on and off. I'm going to keep this, as always, in reserve in case I mess up and decide to go back, or if I just need to go back and grab something that's clean from the original, it will always be there. So I'm going to operate all my edits off layer 1. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select a subject. I'm going to separate the subject from the background, and this is what differentiates advanced editing, color grading from simple color grading, in my opinion. So it's going to say, hey, do you want to watch an ad? And I'm going to say, yeah, I want to watch an ad. I don't know what just happened, so I'm going to try that again. Select subject. Yes, I want to watch the ad.
This print prints everything to get your brand in front of your fans, like t-shirts, water bottles, and totes.
I'd use Vistaprint
so everyone
for
can
business
gift
cards.
it, work
They're
in
a
it,
fine
and
company.
take it.
You should
Whether it's
totally
one of a kind or one for your whole team,
spend
if
money
you
with
need
them
it, we print
because
it
they are
20%
also
off for new customers at
sponsoring the software you're
Vistaprint.com.
using. All right, ad is done. It's processing, and what it's going to do is it's going to create a clean layer selection. There it is, of the subject. Now I'm going to copy and paste that, Control C, Control V, and there it is. So I'm going to turn off my background layer, and I have a layer that is just the subject. Now that is different than the other approach. The more professional approach is to create a background mask. Masks are a little hard to wrap your head around if you're doing it for the first time. So what I'm doing is I'm actually creating a whole new layer, a rasterized layer that is just the visual image. It's not a mask that you reference later. Mask is definitely an advanced editing technique, but it's a little hard to wrap your head around if you've never done it before. So I'm just copying and pasting these. Consider them to be objects to be worked on. So I've got this layer selected. I'm going to select the subject. Okay. Load selection. Let's try that. To transparency. Let's try that. Okay, so now I've got this selected. I'm going to copy and duplicate this layer as well, if you remember from before. I'm going to, now that I've got this, oh actually, let me undo that. Duplicate layer. I'm going to delete this layer. Sorry about that. I have the selection here. I'm going to go back into my layer 1, and I'm going to invert the selection. Select, invert. Now I've got the background selected. I'm going to copy and paste, Control C, Control V. And now when we go over here, if I turn off my subject, now I've got a clean background layer. I'm also going to do this one step further, and I'm going to select just the sky. So I'm going to duplicate that layer. Now I've got all these layers. I'm getting a little bit confused, and I'm going to rename them so I don't get confused. Let's see. There we go. So this, I'll call this bike, and I'm double clicking on this. I'm going to call this sky, and I'm going to call this dirt, so I don't get confused. Oh, it's bikey. Bikey. B-I-K-E. All right. So I'm going to select just the sky. I'm going to turn off the dirt. I'm going to select just the sky by, make sure I'm selecting the right layer, getting this magic wand tool over here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a big giant rectangle first. I'm going to select that, and it's not perfect. See how it's got some of the rock in there and it's got some of the sky down here? So now I'm going to select this button right here, which is Unite. So I'm going to say, hey, I want to add this stuff too. I'm just going to brush it on. I'm going to say, hey, select it, select it, select it, select it. Too much. Undo. Select it. Select it. Oops. Undo. Go back to my selection. There we go. If you lose your selection, you can always undo and go back a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to unselect some of this, which is this button right here, subtract. I'm going to subtract the rock. Oh, I'm still in rectangle. Hold on, let me go into magic mode here. Oops, Control Z. Alright, I'm going to refine the edge, and it's showing me what I'm going to get, and I'm going to say, yeah, okay. So there's my sky layer. Oops, look, it looks like it created that automatically. So I'm just going to delete this layer right here. Now I'm going to go to the dirt layer, and I'm going to select the dirt. And I'm going to do that a different technique. This is the lasso select, and you can just do this by hand. This is another technique. Okay. And I'm going to Control C, Control V. And there's my dirt. I'm going to delete this now. Change this back, label it as such as dirt. And this is quick and dirty selection. You can go back and take your time and do it really, really professionally. So now I've got my 3 layers. If I turn them all on, they should match. I'm going to have my layer underneath just to fill in the blanks. Now if I adjust the sky, if I go here, and I'm going to go to not add vector mask, new adjustment layer, I'm going to select, let's try curves. Curves are great. Curves, I add a gradual adjustment. I can make these clouds look really menacing or really blown out. Curves adjust the image in a smooth way, not in a harsh way. So that's some nasty looking sky right there. And notice it's messing with the ground too. So why it's doing that is because that looks good. Why it's doing that is because where the curves layer is, it's affecting everything below it. So I'm going to drop it down, and I'm going to make it be just a part of the sky. Let's try this. It wouldn't let me do that. Let's try merge down. There we go. Now it became just the sky. So I'm going to now affect the dirt. Again, the same thing with a curve. And let's brighten it up. There we go. And again, let's merge this down so it's only affecting the dirt. There's merge down. Alright, and now let's work on the motorcycle and the rider. Let's adjust this. I want to do a couple things with it. He's kind of washed out. So I want to make sure he's as bright as he can be, but also nice and contrasty so he punches. Contrast is important, drawing the eye to the frame. So I'm going to add a adjustment layer. Brightness contrast, sure. Contrast him up. Make him a little more punchy. Just a little bit. A little brighter too. Don't worry about the background, because we're only going to, remember, we're going to merge these layers. I'm adding contrast to the bike. Okay, that looks pretty good. One thing I'm also going to do, let me merge that down. One thing we're going to do is adjust the colors. He's a little washed out. So vibrance is my preferred tool for that. There we go. Vibrance, and merge that down. His blacks are a little washed out, so I'm going to make an adjustment to that. Merge down, come on. Merge down. And let's go and adjust the blacks with the curves. You can see right here the histogram is really chopped up. That's because I have been editing this image a lot, and it's starting to fall apart. I'm pushing it to the limits of what you can do with the JPEG. Ideally, you would be editing the raw image, not the JPEG. I'm going to give this a bit of an S-curve to bring up the highlights there. All right, let's go for that. Bring this down, merge it, oops. Merge down. And I'm going to turn on my background to fill in the gaps. All right, so that's quick and dirty. I'm not happy with this seam right here. So if I spend a little more time with it, I could get a cleaner image. But if I turn all these off, that's the original image. And this is the color grading. So that's advanced editing with color grading with Photopea.